What up, my people? What up? How y'all feeling today? Now, I do not have no shout outs today, so we gonna jump straight into this one. I got a diction story for you, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something out of it, and maybe make you think a little bit better than you did the day before. So without further ado, I go by D-Jack, but you can call me D. So I go extra hard on that hard flow. Call me D. Yo, what up? It's gonna sound wild, but can you send me some perks? That was an Instagram DM sent to a 23-year-old man named Rio from a 13-year-old girl named Giselle. An hour before she sent this message, it's about 7 p.m. on a Friday night, Giselle sat in her bedroom with her cousin Maria and her best friend Tiana, swiping through social media, as always. Now Giselle, she glanced over to her cousin, watching her doze off with her phone in her hand, and she clapped loud in her face to wake her up and told her to go to sleep if she was tired. But she was in fact far from a lack of rest. Maria said that she was rolling. She in a zone. She on one. And to not blow her high with all that bullshit. Giselle and Tiana asked what she was high off because they ain't smoked weed in over a week. Maria told them about a drug she tried with her boyfriend last weekend. And she called them Yerkies, a nickname for perks or the opiate pills oxycodone. While giving them a full play-by-play of her weekend, it piqued the interest of Giselle the most, with Tiana on the fence about it. And Giselle asked Maria if she knew where they can get some for themselves, but told her it was her boyfriend who knew the actual plug. Worried that she would actually go through with it, Tiana asked Giselle to help her look for her charger downstairs, but really saying, hey, let me talk to you in private. Tiana, she pushed and she pushed about how bad this could turn out. What about your mom? Or what about the cops? Giselle sat there rolling her eyes because Tiana's always been the Girl Scout of the little group, but refused to let her change her mind this time. So she asked Tiana to try with her this time, saying we do all our firsts at the same time, and you made me promise that we would. With arms crossed and a face of disappointment, Tiana shook her head, not responding to what Giselle said. So trying to make her feel a little more comfortable about it, she says, we do it one time and that's it. And before Tiana could really respond, Maria comes running down the stairs, excited to tell Giselle that, hey, she know where she can find some. Giselle looks back at Tiana, you promise, but told Giselle this was a promise that had to be broken, and walked back upstairs. Maria telling Giselle that she would be fine, not to worry, she always been a goody two-shoes type. All my people do it and they just fine. But Giselle's following behind her anyway. Tiana goes into the bedroom, packing up all her things, and Giselle asks where was she going. And she said that she didn't want to be there if they were doing something like this, wanting no parts of it at all. But before she could leave completely, Giselle asked her not to tell her mom or anyone else what they were about to do. Tiana looked at her, not saying a thing, and walked away, making her way out the door, not knowing this would be the last day that she sees her best friend. Maria brings Giselle a styrofoam double cup filled to the brim with dirty Sprite, aka codeine and Sprite. Growing up in that Houston, Texas culture, lean was just as easy to get as it was to get weed. And she went on to tell Giselle that the guy who has the Yerkies, he's someone that she actually knows. Wondering who she was talking about, she looks at the Instagram page, and it was her older sister's ex-boyfriend, who's directly the reason her sister was incarcerated at the time doing 7 years for drug trafficking. So she refused to even talk to him about anything drug related. Maria pushes, and she pushes the issue, telling her it's not about your sister. Don't you want to try it? Because unless you know somebody else who got him, this might be the only way. She thinks on it for a minute, and she thinks some more. And she agrees to deal with him, but wanted Maria to send him the DM, not wanting any connection with Rio. But Maria stressed to Giselle that they had a better chance with her sending the message because of her connection with her sister. And Maria made a good point, kind of a fucked up point, but good point nevertheless. Rio was a street guy, and that label really was an understatement. The kind of guy who valued the dollar over a human life, material over morale. He's clearly a living human being with a soul, but his countless victims would attest to him possessing a fucking heart. Giselle, she shook off that nervousness she felt and sent off that DM. Both girls doubted the likelihood of a response, at least not right away, but was disproven after hearing her IG notification come through on her phone. Right away, she was relieved to see that he didn't recognize her, reading the message out loud. What? Yo, who this? Giselle gave him a fake name, calling herself Sally, and responded back saying, Carmen, one of my best friends. She told me to hit you up if I ever needed any yerkies. And that's all he needed to see, sending her an address where to meet right after. But not without telling her to delete this thread and from now on to talk in vanishing mode, which was a feature on IG that allows your messages to be deleted or unsaved after you send them. Kind of like Snapchat. The girls got bundled up, getting ready to walk through this chilly winter month of December, which was super rare down south. It took them at least 15 minutes to get to their destination. While being a few feet away from the meeting spot, she got another message from Rio, asking if she had came along. Giselle looks at Maria, telling her to go inside the store. Now she's confused and asked her cousin why, what's going on. She didn't want to spook Rio, as if she was some informant, thus taking the walk for nothing, so she took a chance on meeting this distant stranger on her own. Against her cousin's thoughts about it, there was a 24/7 7-Eleven on the corner with seats out front. So Maria headed inside, buying herself a hot chocolate for them both, and waited on the bench, which was a clear view to her cousin. 10 minutes would go by, and Giselle asked where he was. She got a message back telling her, black car in front of you, but not through IG. Someone texted her actual phone. Not knowing what this could be, she was rightfully suspicious about it. The front passenger side window rolls down, revealing the top half of Rio's face. Thinking to herself, yep, that's Rio. She walks over to the car, asking him, how did he get her number? He reminded her of a time her sister's phone was dead and had to use her phone to call him, and he would end up saving a number in case he couldn't get in touch with her for any reason. Him texting her now was just to ensure she was actually who she said she was.
So I guess your name ain't Sally, huh? Giselle.
They never really interacted with each other, besides a high and by during times that Carmen brung him around. She asked if he was already there the whole time, why not just say that? And Rio always made a point of knowing who he was dealing with, from the smallest transactions to the biggest. She put the money on the armrest, wanting two for her and Maria. But he then asked, does she really know what she's looking to buy? She sucked her teeth, wanting to seem a little older than she was, saying she's done it plenty of times, when in fact this would be the day she popped her cherry. Rio turned around in his seat, taking a good look at Giselle, saying to himself that he knew Carmen had a younger sister, but didn't know that she was this young. She couldn't have been no older than 14 years old.
Hey yo, how old you is? And if you lie, you ain't getting shit.
She took a long sigh, put her head down, and said that she turned 14 in a few months, but that her cousin Maria was 16, as if that information made this transaction any less crazy. Rio looked over to his friend who sat in the driver's seat with a look like he's not sure he should sell it to her. But his friend, he had that either you do it or you don't reaction about it. In the middle of the conversation, Maria comes walking towards the car, knocking on the window, saying she ready to go. It's cold, with a little attitude and everything. And Rio looked at Maria saying he recognized her. His friend rolled down the driver's side window, and Rio said to get in the car, and she gladly opened the door, got in beside her cousin. And Giselle asked Maria, how did he recognize you? I thought you didn't know him. Rio cuts in,
Nah, man, it's cool. Her boyfriend came to holler at me last weekend, and I saw her in the car with him.
So hearing this, Giselle felt better about the situation. Coincidentally, copying from the same person technically made Rio not such a bad idea. They got their product and went home. Now, upon getting in the house, Maria told her, you should put some on your stomach so you won't have a bad reaction and throw up. So they decided to order some pizza. Giselle scarfed down one pizza, and she goes inside her purse to retrieve that baggie of pills and put them on the table. The two cousins sit there looking at each other and popped up together. They sit back watching Netflix, waiting for it to take effect, and in 15 to 20 minutes it did. Giselle thinking to herself, why am I just now finding out about this? Why you ain't never tell me about this? Girl, this shit feel good as shit. Feeling like she wanted to feel this way all the time, every day, all day, non-stop. Now they wake up the next morning feeling like they were drinking all night the night before, but nothing too out of the ordinary. She called her best friend to tell her what happened. She told her that she's good, she's fine, and Tiana, she's still not convinced about it, saying she's still not okay with it. And she told her, okay, that's your one and done, so don't do it anymore. But Giselle, she lied to Tiana because she was definitely planning on using again that next night, which was the day that her dad gives her an allowance for the week. she would end up going back to Rio a second time, but this time alone. And Rio said that he could teach her a better way to take it. It hits you faster, and he said that you get the full blast right then and there. He crushed the pill up on a glass plate that he kept inside his glove compartment and passed the plate back to her. Giselle asked why the pill was a different color this time, remembering the one from yesterday being a bright blue color, but this one was all white. Now right there in this moment, Rio could have stepped up and said that the pills he sold them yesterday and last week are not the same ones that he's about to sell her right now. He kept quiet. Either it was for his own personal reasons or wanting to get all the money he could, which was a small play compared to all the major drug transactions he did on a regular. So splitting his morals in half, he thought it was okay by still selling her these pills, but told her what it actually was. Rio sold both regular oxy, but also sold fentanyl, cut just enough to get the strongest high, but not overdosing, depending on how much you take and how much your body is already used to. But this wasn't a regular customer. She wasn't a seasoned user as the others, so it would soon show to be too strong for a girl her age. Now in this situation, he much rather sell her some regular oxys, but he had sold out by that point. Moments after Giselle's body shook back after snorting a line in front of him, he then snorted a line himself and wasted no time trying to take advantage of her, snatching her jeans off, popping the buttons off her jacket from ripping it open, when suddenly a knock on the window, just as it was the first time they all met up. It was Maria, again, snatching open the door, cursing Giselle out, asking her what the hell is she doing. But she's so high and out of it, she doesn't even respond. Rio tell him to get the fuck out before he does something to her. She threatens to call the police, so he kicks Giselle out the car, her coat and shirt still halfway open, and Maria walked her back into the Uber that she rolled there in and takes her home. Maria tried to ask Giselle what she took, but at that point, she was unresponsive, silent, not even a twitch, thinking she's just passed out. When they get home, she just leaves her on the couch, thinking she'll just sleep it off. The next day arrives, and Maria has been calling her all morning, but she also had a date day planned with her boyfriend, so didn't bother to stop by. Giselle's mother also planned to be gone until the evening time, so hours would go by while Giselle laid in that same spot her cousin left her in. Around 8 p.m., Maria and her boyfriend were meeting up with Rio once again for some more yerkies. Now Maria felt a little uncomfortable and she didn't want to tell her boyfriend what happened the night before, thinking that something might go down if she does. This guy, he's in his early 20s. Her boyfriend is no older than 17, and their plan was to get some perks and make their way to the movies right after. But before she can get what she wanted, she gets a frantic call from her aunt, which was Giselle's mother, giving her the worst news she could hear right now. Giselle's mother had found her 2 hours prior, cold to the touch. By now, a forensics tech had found out a cause of death, which her mother overheard. Having a heated argument with the detective, she denied that her daughter ever using drugs, which was the very moment she called up Maria for more information. Now, as Maria sat inside that back seat of Rio's car, fate showed her mercy by sending her a warning seconds before she used the same batch her cousin did. She grabbed her boyfriend's hand, still on the phone, and Rio asked, "What's wrong? Don't you want it? What's going on?" And she shouted back at Rio, accusing him of killing Giselle. Him knowing what he sold her the night before, it's a good possibility it was his batch that killed her. He punches the gas, flying through a red light. The boyfriend trying his best to stop him, but don't want to kill him all in the process. And Rio screams out, "Y'all say anything and y'all fucking dead," holding the strap in his right hand, left hand still on the steering wheel. Maria fold, saying, "We won't say anything." He makes a sharp turn into a nearby alley. After parking the car, he kicks him out, pointing the gun out the driver's side window, saying he ain't playing. And just to be sure you know I ain't playing, he shoots her boyfriend in the leg. Rio was spiraling out at this point, not thinking about the consequences of his actions, which will come back and bite him very soon. A month passes, and Rio will be caught on December 22nd, 2022, facing up to 40 years in prison. Giselle's older sister was released on furlough to attend her sister's funeral. Her cousin Maria attended also, but from a distance, feeling it was her fault Giselle was no longer here in the first place. Her best friend, she felt just as guilty, that instead of walking away, she should have pushed more and at least told someone. But the best thing that they all could do was move on from this point in their lives and remember Giselle's sacrifice, a sacrifice that she didn't know that she was making, to teach the rest of us how dangerous drug use can actually be. Now the message I want to leave with y'all today is this: don't ever feel bad about being lame. What I mean by that is, if you hang around a group of people, a friend group, family members, or whoever it may be, those people that try to make you feel less than or lame or nerdy because you don't want to indulge in certain things that they want to, because you don't want to follow, you want to lead by example, you want to be the person you want to be, the person that you were raised to be. Don't be afraid to be lame, especially if that's the label that they tack on to it. You be lame right along by yourself. But if you're on the other side of things, if you are the person who want to follow the crowd and do all the extreme things and get all these experiences out while you're young, understand that it don't matter how old you are, a consequence comes with everything that you do. This ain't back in 2015. This ain't 2005. This ain't 1995. It's not the same. Drugs are not the same. Damn near everything is laced with something nowadays. You damn near gotta go to the weed man and get his shit tested before you smoke it. That's how real it is out here right now. And really think about all the young people who lost their lives because they wanted to jump into the same thing that we jumped into. It's just the game that they in right now is way more dangerous than the one we was and the ones before. Rest in peace to everybody who lost their life due to drug abuse. But that's all I got. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay positive. Y'all stay sober. If you ain't moving, you losing, my boy. And we out.
Call me, D.
Hustler talk, no comment though, just paper chase. Chasing my dreams, my nightmares ain't got no money. Just a cardboard sign and they existing so bumming. And they want me down with them at the bottom of